Nature doesn't care about your happiness, and neither should you. Once this sinks in, it's liberating, not depressing. Let me show you why. For most of my life, I thought it was my job to make myself happy and to avoid being unhappy. I thought that was the goal. But all this caused was a low-grade self-judgment from knowing that I'm failing pretty much all the time, because I knew I was not happy most of the time, so therefore I was failing. And so this was exhausting. And it took me decades to realize that to be able to control my happiness, I had to be able to control my circumstances. But I am a product of nature, and as such, I cannot control my circumstances. In our 30s, 40s, and 50s, we've already accumulated decades at failing at happiness. And the self-judgment around failing at that increases with age. But all of this can change once you understand what I'm about to share here with you. So let me show you what happiness is, why you can control it, and why that's okay. Most people live with these three false assumptions. I have to be happy all the time. Happiness is something to be acquired, and it's my job to make myself happy. And the irony is, most people don't even know what happiness is. So let me ask you, what is your definition for happiness? Let me know in the comments below. I read all the comments. Now, let me tell you what happiness is. Happiness is reality minus expectations. That's it. Listen to it again. Reality minus expectations. That's happiness. When your expectations are matching your circumstances, your reality, you're happy. When your expectations are not matching your circumstances, then you're unhappy. This is it. And I'll share something with you. I have a son who's 3.5 years old, and I've been watching him since he was a baby. And what I've noticed is that he doesn't have to labor to make himself happy all the time. In fact, it seems like that's his default state. It seems like when he gets upset, he is upset for a little bit, but then he goes back to his normal state. He doesn't wake up every morning not happy and having to make himself happy. Here's the sad thing. We learn how to be unhappy, and then we spend our entire lives laboring how to be happy on a daily and hourly basis. But let me share this with you. Happiness is not something to be acquired. Happiness is a starting point. Happiness is our default state. It's not something to labor towards. We do because we learn how to be unhappy. So let's go a little bit deeper in exploring this business of trying to make ourselves happy all the time. To make yourself happy, it requires that you can control your circumstances. But how much of your circumstances can you control? Not much. You can influence your circumstances a tiny bit, but you cannot control them much. It's like we're hummingbirds in a hurricane, and as such we can control the direction of our flight a tiny bit, but eventually we're going where the hurricane is going, because we're products of nature, and as such we didn't parachute here. We showed up as nature. Nature is manifesting itself through us, and nature is expressing the way it does because it is what it is, as opposed to anything else that it could have been. So if you don't believe me, try this thought experiment. Try to have only happy thoughts for a week. Now try to have happy thoughts for an hour. What happens? You can't? Exactly, that's what I mean. You can't control even your thoughts, let alone your actions, your circumstances. You can't control other people. Your reality is composed of people, circumstances, and events. Can you control my thoughts? Can you control other people's thoughts? Can you control my actions? No, you can't. So that tells you how much of your reality you can control, and by extension, how much of your happiness you can control, because to control your happiness, it requires that you control your circumstances. Yes, you can influence them a little bit, but you almost have no control over your circumstances. So enough said about your ego trying to control reality all the time. And that's the part of you that's living in future anxiety about having to be happy all the time. And it's the part that's living in the delusion that it can control reality, and it cannot. The big pill to swallow here is this: nature does not care about your happiness. Why should it? Nature is nature. All goes in nature. Lions eat gazelles in Africa. We don't like it, but we know it's nature expressing itself, so we accept it. We're born, we mature, we know we're going to die. We don't like it, but we have to accept it. Why? Because it's nature. We cannot control it. So what's this business about having to labor to be happy all the time? What's this business all about? And now you're hearing me say all of this, and it probably sounds hopeless, but it only does until you make the switch, until you let what I'm telling you sink in. And once this happens, you will drop all this worry about having to make yourself happy all the time and the exhaustion that comes from that. You will drop the responsibility for making yourself happy, because it's not your job to make yourself happy. When it happens, great. Let me give you the other part of the story. If you are happy all the time, how would you even know that you're happy? To be able to know that you're happy and to appreciate that, it requires that sometimes you're not. To be able to feel utter and extreme happiness, it requires that sometimes you experience utter and extreme sadness and sorrow. So the contrasts really matter. It's not about you and I being happy all the time. It's about you and I feeling alive all the time. All right, let me pause here for a second and give you a little bit of a break from this conversation about happiness and tell you about my free WhatsApp community called Deeper Prime. It's about 60 of us in that community, and we converse about deep topics around existence, mind, consciousness, meaning. If this interests you, and if you like going deeper, and if you're not into surface level fake spirituality, then you probably like this place. The link to join is in the description below. Also, I release a new video just like this every Sunday. If you like to go even deeper with me, subscribe. So let's recap. Nature does not care about your happiness, and neither should you, because it's not up to you. And this is the most liberating understanding you can have. It's not your job to make yourself happy. And when it happens, great.